checking in, you've noticed changes every week or so. So I want to touch base and show you some of the changes I've made and how you can use them to help um, get your stuff going, kind of get your projects rolling. So the main thing is a new feature called cloning applications. So think of a clone not like a Git clone. It's not the same concept. It's more like literally cloning a project, like a human clone, like cloning a person. And then, so the idea is that you can clone a project off Turbo and then run that project on your account. And then from there, you can download the source code, make all your configuration changes, do what you want to do to make it your project, and basically pick up where the clone left off, right? Um, in addition, clones are good for non-programmers, so it's meant to be a bridge between programmers and non-programmers. So if you're a non-programmer, you can clone a project and change a bunch of config settings to update the content, and then at that point pass it off to a programmer, a turbo programmer, who can take it over from there, or you can just leave it as is if you want. So for example, these on the home page, these are templates that you can clone, right? So for example, if I want to clone the standard resume, so here's some screenshots. Steven is one of our developers, by the way. We hired him last fall. He's doing a great job. So Steven, if you're watching this, thanks for all your help. So here is the staging site for the template. And if I want to clone this, I basically will get this exact project, but much of this data can be configured through a series of changes. So let's do one right now. So let me log into my Turbo account. Okay, and then go back to the page where you can get to the template and scroll to the bottom, and then you'll see here where you can clone the application. And this one in particular is free. Most of them are going to be free. So resume clone demo. So we clone that. So right now we're porting the project over to my account where I can start making changes. So it'll be done in a couple seconds. So here it is. And then you'll see here, as a programmer, the main things you need to be aware of are over here. So here's the staging link of the clone on my account, right? So you'll notice there's a few differences, like the education experience and project section is empty because that data has not been populated by myself. So this is like a blank template right now. And these are configured through the config variable. So if you go back to the dashboard of the clone and click on configuration, you'll see where all these settings are determined. It's pretty easy to figure out what's what. So instead of, I am a full stack developer, let's just say I am a Node Express React developer, or better yet, full stack JavaScript developer. And then I can update that, and then when I reload, it'll say that right there. Make sense? Let's change this right here. So Stephen McCardle, that's going to be down here. These are global variables. So the distinction is a global variable is an env variable. It applies to every page of the project. So here I'm going to put in my name instead. Let's just do a 212555123 New York. And let's change these environment variables so that when I reload, it'll show my name, right? And notice the title updates as well, so the entire project has been updated. Let's say I want to change this. Now this content applies only to this specific page. So this is a page variable as opposed to an environment variable, a global variable. That's the contrast. So going back up here, we're on the home page. So instead of all this content right here, let's say I am the developer of Turbo 360, and then I update that, wait for the confirmation, and then you'll see that over here, right? And that's done. Let's say I want to add education. So right here, I'm going to do admin, and then school. Excuse me, education. Okay, and here I can add some database-driven content. So here I will be adding content to the Turbo data store. So let's say I do GPA. None of this is true, by the way. I invented Facebook at Harvard. I think we all know what we're talking about here. And then press add school. And then we go back to the home page, and there it is right there. And that's it. So you can fill out the entire resume site this way. This section over here, of course, is global variables, right? So we go back here to the dashboard, and we head down to the global variables section, and we find the email. And we update that. And then we reload, and then this should be updated. And all that works, right? So this is all set to go. And you may have noticed so far we haven't done any actual programming, right? So if you're watching this video, you want to actually learn programming. So this is a good way to learn programming too. Let me show you how. So you go back to your dashboard, and you click on the overview, and you click right here, source. Okay, and when you click on the source, you are downloading the source code of literally this project. So here is the source code right here. Okay, so let me put that on the desktop. Okay, and then let me open this up. Clone demo. And so if you open this up, you'll see that it's a Node Express project. It's a standard Node Express architecture. So it's not like this weird, like, Wix or Squarespace or WordPress like architecture that's hard to kind of conceive. It's a standard Node Express project. And if you've been following my tutorials, you'll recognize this right away. It's just a regular, REST API with, a couple mustache templates, and that's basically it. It's very simple. So first thing we want to do is remove the node modules and just sort of reset that. So I'm going to go back in here, and let's start coding this guy. So let's cd to the project. Let me make this bigger. And rerun the installs. All right, good to go. And then we're not ready to run it yet. We have to create the env file. So we create the env, and then go back to your dashboard, and then we can go back to the configuration. Keep in mind the global variables is the env file. Literally, it's the same thing. So we can just go down here and download that, and then open this up. And here is your env. These values are consistent with what's over here. So we can then just take that. I'm going to do this through Nano today just because. .env. We just paste that in and then just get out of here. And now we're set. And then we can now run the dev server. And now we're running the Turbo project locally with the data that we populated from the Turbo dashboard. So it's consistent. It's a perfect facsimile of the staging environment. But now we have access to the actual code, right? So now we can go in here and start tinkering with the code. So here we have our views, right? Our mustache files. We have our routes, our index route, our API route, admin route for the admin files. I'm going to authenticate the admin route soon, so don't worry. I know it's secure at all. I understand that, but I'm gonna authenticate them soon, so that'll be on the way. Um, Public assets, all that good stuff. So here, let's see, if I go to the index mustache, here's where all the environment variables from the Turbo platform are being populated. So let's say, um, I don't know, let's say you want to get this line out of here, born on October 1995. That's not my birthday, but let's say we want to get rid of that. So here it is right here, and we can just get rid of it through standard code, just like we normally do, just like we do in my tutorials. And from here, it's just a regular Node Express project hosted on Turbo. So you can treat it as such. So the idea here is that these projects there are a couple benefits. Number one, it's a quick way to get something going. As you can clearly see, this is just a matter of minutes to get a full project up and running that you can configure for your own content. Very, very easy, very convenient. That being said, you're not tied to the platform the way you would be on like Squarespace or a Wix or a Weebly, where you can't get into the code and mess around, right? I mean, I know Wix has options for that, but you're still using the Wix technology, the Wix sort of specific way of doing things. Whereas on Turbo, I mean, obviously it's hosted on Turbo, but if you look at the code, it's extremely conventional. This is all just mustache templating, Node Express routes, nothing that you haven't been doing as a developer if you've been watching my videos or following really any kind of modern day stack. So this is what they teach at Full Stack Academy or Grace Hopper, Galvanize, places like that. So it's a modern stack. So basically, the idea is to act as a bridge between non-programmers and programmers in the modern day era, such that you don't have to, I've had enough contracts now where I'm dealing with a WordPress code base and we have to migrate all these things over. Actually, my last big contract last year was literally that, and that's still going on. I'm not still working on it, but the development is still going on. And I've seen it enough times now to know that this is a pain point in the industry, so that if you can present yourself as a good option and say, hey, I'm a professional developer on a modern day stack, I can get you started on this, such that you won't have to make a major switch down the road, but you can still make changes as a non-programmer if you want. So that's been a big source of pain for my clients as well in the past 6 years. So you may notice here I did not use React. This is just a standard Node Express, plain old, basically an MVC style architecture. So we have our controllers here. If you watch my full stack videos from almost a year ago now, about 9-10 months ago, like the social bookmarking app or the image sharing apps, you probably remember I do a lot of the MVC style architecture on a standard Node Express architecture, just because I find most people can understand that pretty easily. And the architecture's good. I like it. So that's what I'm doing here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's the env. So it's also worth pointing out that if you make a change on the env here, it will update on the Turbo dashboard. The two environments are synced. So if I change my location, and then here, let's say I now want to deploy this. So Turbo deploy, same as always, right? So the env will sync up on both environments, local and staging. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. Just pick one and be consistent with it. Just remember which one you're going with, because sometimes when I'm doing my work, I forget, and that makes things a little bit hard to remember and follow along. So this will be up in a minute or two. And once it's up, let's confirm that the env properly updated. Okay, almost ready. There is our staging link, same as usual. Greenwich, Connecticut. That's not where I'm from, but I just picked the town. So everything worked, and then if you go back to the dashboard, right here, if I reload the config and scroll down to the global, excuse me, notice how that this is properly synced up as well. So it worked. Everything is good to go. A lot of cool architecture going on behind the scenes here. I think I'll do another video just on that. Um, you know, a lot of cool things working behind the scenes as far as making this making all this go. Actually, the one thing I forgot to point out, I'm sure you noticed by now, that is not my picture. That is a Stephen McCardle. You probably could see that by now. So I'm going to find a picture of myself. Let's see, and show you how to upload a photo. Copy image address. Okay, there I am. All right. So there is the image I'm going to use. So if I go back to my dashboard, let me show you how to upload that onto the Turbo project. So there's my dashboard. Okay, here is the project, and then you go to storage. This is where all your static assets should be uploaded. Click on this upload file button right here. Click on your image. Wait for that to go. Here it is. Click on view. There is the new upload. Copy this URL right there, right, and then go back to your configuration, excuse me. And this is going to be a global variable, profile icon, I believe is what it is. So let's find that guy. Profile icon. So we get rid of that and replace it with the new one we just uploaded. And then we update the env and test the staging. Click on overview, staging. And there it is. All good to go. So it's a quick high-level overview of how the organization is right now on Turbo. So again, the idea is to be a bridge between non-technical people and technical people. Obviously, as programmers, I would say 90% of the people watching this video right now are programmers. So if you're a programmer, you can just go into the code and tweak, right? You can just tweak all this on your own. That's what programming is. But keep in mind, if you're a programmer, it's pretty rare you're programming just for yourself, right? Unless you're running a startup like me, or um, you're a high school or a college kid and you don't have a job. Even if you're a college kid, you should be programming for other people by now. So um, you have to understand that you know your role as a developer is to provide utility to your client, your boss, your company, whatever, your classmates, whoever, and they might not be programmers. So you have to understand that is whatever you can do to make that process smoother, easier, is going to make you more valuable. So hopefully this is a a step in the right direction. Having done probably 30 or 40 professional projects in the past 6 years, this would have been very helpful because I would get a phone call or a text from my client, frequently saying, "Hey, I just need you to change the this text in the about section, or can you just change my icon? I'd rather use this picture instead." And it's a hassle because I might not be home, right? Or I might be, I might just be watching a football game or whatever, and it's like, oh, I gotta boot up the computer now. I gotta do all this. I gotta like get back my mind back into the right frame of, and then like it's not always, you're not always in a position to do things like that. But if it's something that your client can just do quickly and easily, they'll thank you for it. They'll be like, oh, this guy put us on a good system where I can just make all these tweaks without bothering him all the time, right? Um, so yeah, that's sort of the idea behind this. So also, I encourage you to put up a resume site. We have a few examples up here already. Obviously, Stephen McCardle. We have 2 resume templates currently on the home page. Here's the first one I did. This one's pretty nice because of the animations. It's all the same content, education, job experience, skills. Um, so it's pretty cool animations. And then this one's more of a conventional website here. So I went with two formats. I might do one more. But if you're a developer who doesn't have a portfolio site, or even worse, you have a shitty portfolio site, God, there's nothing worse than like a developer who sends me like a portfolio site that just looks like trash. It just makes the wrong impression. Like developers are just not visually oriented for the most part. And as a developer myself, I certainly understand that. I'm not visually oriented either. However, you have to understand your audience. I've said it in a lot of my videos. Fairly or unfairly, you are judged on your appearance, both online and even physically. And I'll do another video on that as well, but I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying that's just what it is, right? So, um, you may think that, well, whatever, I'm just, I'm writing code. Like, why do I have to worry about the font color, or like, how nice a logo looks? Like, that's the designer's job. Well, if you have a website that looks like trash and you don't have a designer, it's gonna make a negative impression. That's just how it works. So, um, if you wanna make a good first impression real quick, these templates should be pretty helpful. I'm gonna probably upload 2 more in the next week, so just wait on that. See if you like those better. Um, but it's important, is my point. It matters. I'm not saying it should matter. I'm saying it does matter. Whether or not you think that's fair doesn't matter. Your opinion on this doesn't matter. Neither does mine. All I know is that it's true. So, I don't look very sharp right now. I haven't shaved in a couple days. Believe it or not, this is a couple days. This is the best I can do after a couple days. I need a haircut. I should probably put on a nicer shirt. You better believe if I'm talking to a client, all of that would happen. I wouldn't be wearing this. I'd have a collared shirt on. I'd shave. I'd get a haircut. I'd really uh, look like a respectable human being, unlike I do right now, and I wouldn't be drinking beer. But the point is, I understand the appearance matters. So, the person you're seeing on this video right now is not the person my client sees. I want you to be I want you to understand that. The person my client sees is a rather different individual. Is he always wearing a button-down shirt, not usually a tie. I don't really go that far, but I tuck in, khakis, corduroys, nice shoes, whatever. Just be a professional is my point. And that matters online as well. It does matter online. So, I see a lot of trash portfolio sites from good developers is my point. The developers might be good. They might know what they're doing. And the person who can make that assessment obviously is me. I can see that. I've seen a lot of shitty portfolio sites from React Redux developers. And obviously it doesn't impact me as much because I'm a developer, so I can make the assessment accurately. But what if you're not a developer, right? What if you're a startup founder, not a startup founder, what if you're HR management of like a hedge fund, right? Or like some sort of like finance firm. Do you think they care that you know how to use Redux Saga? They don't care about that. They see a shitty website, they're like, yeah, this doesn't, it's moving on, right? That's how the world works. So understand that, understand that, um, and use whatever advantage you can get. So use this. Just clone one of these suckers and pump in your own content. Get a nice setup, and then cross check that off your list, and then go on to the next thing. So, all right. Well, I'll be continuing to make a lot more changes on this, and hopefully you were able to follow along and shoot